Okay, guys, today is the 22nd of March, 2024, and I'm actually gonna walk to the store again, and then I'm gonna sit at one of the fast food restaurants. Actually, I got back into my Corinthian1 at gmail.com email address. I got back into my LinkedIn account. I got back into I should be able to get back into my Twitter account very soon. But anyway, I haven't had the time to actually I'll log back in, but I'm gonna get my phone in about a week, my replacement phone, so I'll have two phones, two numbers. In about a week and a half, so I'll have about two numbers that I'm actively using simultaneously. My 47600 number is still active, but my phone itself is broken. So I'm gonna get a replacement phone for that number, and I'll be able to use my new phone and number aside this the primary phone and phone number. And yeah, so I should have charged this last night. I really should have. I should have. Anyway, as you can see, it's actually 2:56 p.m. March 22nd, Friday, 2024, and I'm finally gonna get an opportunity to write the work paper on. I'm just gonna focus on that when I get to the fast food restaurant. I'm gonna sit there. I'm not gonna not necessarily relax, but I'm gonna sit there, be comfortable, and focus, and be able to write the work paper on the legal tenets of the technologies of the Americas Directive. So I'll be able to provide the fundamental legal tenets, principles, which are gonna guide that particular directive. It's going to allow for security systems throughout the Americas. It's going to allow for regional security systems, which are not going to compete necessarily with the North American system or the South American system, but it's going to allow things to be compounded within a unitary hemispheric system. Okay, so it's going to allow us to communicate a bit more efficiently. It's going to allow us to be able to do what we need to do to keep government and civil society and the general public functioning and operating as it should, based on the mechanisms, not just public offices, but the supportive infrastructure to allow public offices and multi-public offices to get the job done of governing and protecting and ensuring and enriching the lives of Pan Americans, and that's what we're going to call ourselves here in the Americas. Okay, hold on. That's what we are going to call ourselves here in the Americas. Here in the United States, we are Americans, but in speaking of the whole hemisphere, including the United States, when we speak of the residents of the Americas, we are speaking of Pan Americans. That's going to be the name of the Americas, the residents and citizens of the Americas, actually the citizens of the Americas, because all residents of the Americas will be automated as citizens of the Americas in the future, in the coming future. And European Unionists or citizens of the European Union will be known as Europeans naturally, and Africans will be known as Africans, and so forth. The Western Asians will be known as Western Asians, and the Pacific Islander, no, the Asia Pacificers, or just Pacificas, or Asia Pacificers. We're gonna have to popularize this term. It's actually it's a cool term. Asia Pacificers is actually a cool term. It has some sort of nuance, but it's actually a cool term. I'm sure of it. So the citizens of the Asia Pacific, eventually they will be known as the Asia Pacificers, and the folks in the future Union of West Asia Union, will be known as Western Asians, and so on. Okay, so and the technologies. What sort of technologies? Media technology, administrative technology, government technology, security technology, defense technology is going to be incorporated into the security technology. What's okay? So hold on. So what's going to happen So what's going to happen? So what's going to happen is that the defense and the military eventually are going to be incorporated over time into security system. They're not going to be made docile per se, but they're going to be made soft enough into expert and efficient security system, more so defense oriented, without being too assertive or too aggressive as conventional or traditional. Uh, so military with time will be incorporated thoroughly into the security system, and it's not going to serve as a detriment to the civil liberties and the other fundamental rights and protections of citizens of any one particular country or hemisphere or the global society that we are developing. Okay, so that's part of a process. But yeah, so we're gonna have, and I do want to note that we have plans for at least 5 associate states of the United States. The first is going to be the Commonwealth of Dominica within the next year and a half, officially, and the second is going to be the Republic of Seychelles, and the third, immediately thereafter, or maybe even simultaneously, will be the Republic of Vanuatu, and the fourth will be Scotland, the Republic of Scotland. Scotland is going to become independent very soon, and it'll become an associate state of the United States, in decades. Okay, so that's going to be part of the project that we have with our relations with the European Union or Europe in general. Okay, and the fifth is going to be the state of Israel. Eventually, within half a century, the state of Israel is going to become an associate state of the United States. It's no longer going to be considered silently part of the system of the United States security protocol. It's going to become consistently identified and accepted, as with every other associate state of the United States, as being within the American system, political, economic, social, infrastructural, and so forth. All right, this is not necessarily basis at all, a military motivated basis. It covers the wide spectrum of relations that we want to have all over the world. We're going to respect the sovereignty and independence of each and every one of the associate states of the Americas, but they are going to be considered nationals of the United States of America, special in having essential dual nationality or dual citizenship-like sort of privileges. Okay? So it's going to make sure that the world's embrace of the United States of America it's going to make sure that the world's embrace of the United States of America won't ever become lackluster or won't ever be depreciated by the globalization of the world. And it's going to make sure that our military, in being the most competent, the most modern, the most ethical, actually in principle and protocol, and hopefully eventually completely per manifestation at all points into the future, is certainly the most commendable military and most trusted military. So even though the Chinese military is going to be made permanent, and it's going to be sovereign per se within the Asia Pacific Union of the future, the United States is still going to be trusted as the lead sheriff of the planet. And China is going to accept that, and it will be able to supplement the United States in doing so. And at times, it will just purport being some sort of check and balance on the United States military, and that's necessary to keep people all over the world at peace, because no one wants to perceive any country, including the United States, as over-domineering, no matter what. That's whether they admit it or not, or whether it's subconscious or not. That's just part of maintaining, some sort of reasonability. All right, so yeah, and yeah, so the African Union is not going to have a continental military whatsoever, but it's going to have a continental security system, and it's going to have political embassies and political sort of apparatuses of some sort of security protective protocol all over the planet. Okay, all over the planet. It's not going to be military motivated, but it's going to ensure that every security system all over the system isn't a hazard to the African Union and its globalization project of keeping the world completely united. Okay, that's what we're going to motivate in the African Union. That's part of the project that we're working on between us and the African Union.